Where do you want to go? You want to go down the list? That's the best thing to do first.
First, yeah.
We'll officially call this meeting of the Land Bank Board of Trustees to order. Mr. Yura.
You have a memo that was sent to you that lists some items that we want to at least bring to your attention and walk through and bring you up to date. First one has to do with the title status of land bank lots. Been in constant communication with JCAT. Had a conversation earlier today with Todd, who had communicated with the underwriter. Sent me an email last week that basically outlined that they've been going through the notification procedures that were followed in the tax sales with everybody that had been identified as having interest in the properties before they went to tax sale. Mixed reviews on that. Essentially, and Katie's probably better answering this than I am, the email that came today basically said something to the effect that if the land bank issued warranty deeds that on the sale, then the underwriters would be fine with that. But as Katie indicated, that's not normally what you do. So I'm going to let you explain that much better than I can of what's going on.
Okay, and since I only saw that email about a half hour before
I
I
know.
had to leave to come up here, I only had a little bit of time to look at it, but here's the technical issue. And it may not be much of a problem at all because the risk may be so low. But for those of you who aren't very familiar with this, and I would certainly understand if you weren't, there are basically three different types of deeds that can be given for real estate in Kansas. The least risky from the seller standpoint is called a quitclaim deed, and that's what the city typically gives when it sells property. I know we're talking about a different entity here at the Land Trust, but typically a city would not give anything more than a quitclaim deed, which basically says, I'm giving you as good a title as I've got, but I don't guarantee I have good title to the property. And the way people get their comfort from that is to get title insurance. And so, in essence, in case there's a failure of some aspect of title, it's the title insurance company that assumes the risk, and that's why they get paid a premium for that. The second the second level of title that can be given is something called a special warranty deed. And with a special warranty deed, you're basically saying, I won't vouch for everything that happened before I took title to the property, but I will warrant that nothing has happened while I've owned the property that would impair my ability to give you good title. So you're only warranting for the period of time between the time you get a deed and the time you convey by deed. And that's low risk because you should know if you have, if you've done anything, if you, for example, conveyed part of it to someone else. Okay, so that, even there, I'd be fine with the city or land bank giving a special warranty deed. With a warranty deed, what you're warranting to the buyer is the same thing you're asking the title company to insure, and that is, except as might be disclosed on a current title search, there's nothing to impair your ability to give title. So in essence, what the title company underwriter is suggesting here is that maybe to the same extent the title insurance company insures title, that to some extent the city or the land bank or some entity is going to back that title in the same degree. It's going to be an equal risk, which probably means, and this is where I haven't had time to see what they mean by that, but it probably means that if for some reason there's a failure of title because one or more of these sales is overturned because of the lack of good service, if the title company has to pay, they'd probably come back and file a claim against the land bank. So it's a more of a mutual sharing of the risk. So that doesn't necessarily mean you shouldn't do it if that's what they require, but I want to spend a little more time so I can be able to tell you, well then, what's the ultimate what if? What's the ultimate outcome if that happens? I think I'm going to be able to tell you when I look at it more closely that the ultimate outcome would be that your maximum exposure would simply be to refund the purchase price of the property, if that happened, probably plus interest. Not have to pay them the value of the property at the time, there's a challenge. I think the maximum that under Kansas law they could recover if that happened would be just a refund of the purchase price because they didn't get what they, purchased. But normally, I would never recommend that a public entity give a warranty, a general warranty. But if that's the only way you can get title insurance here,
Now, we did get earlier notification from JCAT that their underwriter had said that they will give clear title with no limitations to the property out of Olivia Farms, which came from Fort Development. They also said that they would do that with a handful of lots that we've identified, primarily in Sutter Highlands, that was part of Shawnee Terra LLC. The reason that these are different is that they were not taking a tax sale based on subdivisions. Obviously, Fort Development was because it was one entity. But most of the others, Sutter Woods, Sutter Highlands, most of the others fell into the category where the original developers then sold lots to a block of builders or other investors who then subsequently defaulted, but everything was in their name. And, for those that are aware, Big D was the one that primarily did Sutter Woods and Sutter Highlands, but not all the lots in there are under their name. We haven't received back clear indications yet of whether or not the Big D properties are going to get clear title. They're still in this never
David, was
world.
the email that I was looking at today, was that for all lots or just for specific lots they wanted to see general warranty deed?
I'd have to go back and print them. I'll get them forwarded to you. I thought I sent them to you earlier, but we'd sent a series of requests for title review based on the ownership, which covered most of the lots in Sutter Woods, most of the lots in Sutter Highlands. It also got into lots, some of them that we've got up in Doc Hargrave's edition. Haven't sent them with JCTD, which is the entity that owns all of Deer Creek, which is the property south of Ash Street, behind the radio station, because that came in the 2014 tax sale, and those lots will clear that 1 year period, grace period or whatever, redemption period, whatever we call it, at the end of this month. But
As I looked at this, I'm looking at it again right now, and as I'm looking at it, but I'm seeing an email from that title company in a chain of emails that I'm not involved in, and it looks to me like the underwriter is referring to warranty deeds for all lots, but I may be misunderstanding.
that's what I got out of that, and I didn't know what it meant. That's why I sent it to
Well,
you and
I should-
basically
I
said, what does that mean? And it's a
Yeah.
question that's more legal than it is anything else. The bottom line is, though, we've got some clearance right now to get clear title according to the underwriter out of Olivia Farms, out of some of the lots in Sutter Highlands. Those could be identified, and we could move forward with whatever marketing plan we want to do on that now.
If the city's willing to give a warranty deed, that's the,
Well, they gave us an earlier email that said that they would give title insurance, right, and they gave a preliminary title commitment on it with no restrictions.
okay, well, we'd have to look at it, I'd have to see the written
Okay.
title commitment to verify that, because the written title commitment would say,
Can't pull it up on mine right now, or I
no,
would read it
that's
to you.
okay, but it would say,
But-
if a requirement was that the city give a warranty deed versus a special
I don't
warranty
recall that it
deed.
did.
Well,
I thought
but
I'd
have to
copied
look
that
at
on
it.
it, yeah. But,
I haven't seen it.
so anyway,
Why don't we just go ahead and take up the county's offer and do the quiet claim deed, is that?
Quite
quiet title
Quiet
action.
title action. I mean, granted, I'm new to
And I'm
this
not
little
sure the
5 months,
process
but
on that,
It's like,
Katie.
we gotta get lots out in the market. And the county has offered to do that process. And if we can't get lots out in the market in the next couple of months, we gotta do what we gotta do to get the lots out there, because they gotta be sold, we gotta get them back in here, we gotta create tax revenue, and getting houses built out there. We have some willing buyers, I think, in my mind. I mean, I have one that talks
We've
to me
had some interested
on
parties
different,
that
on
have
different
identified
pieces,
lots.
and I think they'd be willing to go to bid on some of those, and we create revenue for the city. It's all gonna be a win-win, you know?
But an alternative to that would be if we have immediate lots that are,
Okay,
people are interested in, and they're lots that we can get comfort that there
pull
aren't
that,
gonna
yeah.
be any challenges, and these are all ifs, because I, you know, haven't seen every step of everything that's happened here. If the title company is requiring a general warranty deed, and if it appears the risk is very low, that would be a problem, that'd be faster than doing a quiet title action. A quiet title action would
it's
be,
gonna take 6 months.
oh, at least.
Yeah, I understand that.
So that would be faster. Also, I haven't talked to this underwriter, and I think I should, because,
Okay.
you know, as of a half hour before I had to
Right.
jump in the car to come up here, I saw that email. So
Yeah.
I haven't had time to talk to the underwriter and say, well, if you're putting that requirement in there, what do you mean by that? Do you mean that the city would?
My feeling
indemnify-
right now is that we've got a commitment from the title company and on some lots, primarily in Olivia Farms and some in Sutter Highlands, that could be taken to offer to sell with a high degree of assurance we can get clear title from the title company. Now, that's caveated by you need to see what it is that they've said, but they've given us preliminary title commitments. It's what it said. We will give you a title commitment with a title insurance policy on these lots and no restrictions.
Where do we stand with the 2014 tax sale lots?
These were 2013 lots.
But
The
the
2014 lots,
Because-
that 1 year will end the end of this month, the end of June.
Could we sell those in July with a title, with a clear title to the, because those are the ones that I'm hearing, I mean, I've had people approach me about those lots is because they're behind a radio station right back in there. There's a
Well-
lot of interest in those lots, and I know of a couple that would,
I've
you know.
had interest in other lots too,
Okay,
not just those. And some of them are those that have already cleared that were part of the 2013 sale. But we'll find out. We can run the trap line with them and see.
there's a fine line of flooding the market. I understand all that stuff and not doing that, but
Yeah.
we have some willing people out there, I think, that are willing to get to rocking for us, and
Had two people, actually three specifically, that have come in and said, here's lots that I want to pursue acquiring right now. And they're not a part of that. They're part that would go earlier. Which gets into the second issue of how do we go about marketing them things? Do we just say they're for sale and whoever walks in the door, or do we go through a process to say, we're going to take bids on them and here's when we'll go through and accept those bids? That's issue number two that's there. But the bottom line is I do believe we've got title issues 99% resolved. I know it's not 100%. So-
We have to get this issue of whether the title company will require a warranty deed resolved. And if they will require a warranty deed, what real risk is the city
Yeah.
assuming if it gives one, the land trust? And I can't answer that
So rather
completely
than wait
tonight.
for an entire month now, could we schedule a land bank meeting for the next, at 6 o'clock at the next
Yeah.
commission meeting, so she give her time to talk to them?
Yeah.
Yeah, we
have
can do
waited
that.
a whole month.
Yeah.
No, we need to move.
Well-
So,
We've heard we need to move for quite a while.
I know. Well, we've been waiting on two things. One was the question with the title company, and that we're just getting communications today on that. The other one
The water
was,
just seems to keep getting muddier and muddier. I just think we need to find out where we stand. I was always under the understanding that once it cleared that year, everything was taken care of. It was free and clear title, and we could put them into the land bank and sell them. That is the understanding I've had from the beginning. That's why I agreed to put the 940 in a totality, because I thought we had some this first go around, and then at the end of this month we would have all the rest of them. And now, do I understand that we have to have an agreement for a warranty deed for all 940?
Well, it's only tied to whether or not the title company will issue title insurance, okay?
Right.
It's not an independent legal requirement, but anybody who buys the lots is going to
Right.
want to get title insurance.
Okay,
So initially, we knew we had the 1 year that we couldn't get title insurance because anybody can challenge a tax sale for 1 year.
okay.
We had a meeting, Pat, I think you were there. I can't remember who all
January.
was there. But we had a meeting with the title company in January, and they explained that they had inquired more of their underwriting. And it turns out that, and I don't legally disagree with that their lawyers, so these are the lawyers for the title company that is assuming the risk of title, that there are certain defects in tax sales that are not limited to that 1 year period, that can be brought at any time. And
Okay.
those relate primarily to lack of service on all interested parties in the tax sale. Because the way a tax sale works in Kansas is it's done through a court proceeding. So it starts with the county councilor filing a lawsuit, and it's multiple properties, and the county councilor names everybody who has an interest in each parcel. So it's not just the owner of record, it's also any mortgage holders, any lien holders, anybody who has an interest in record. And then everybody who's named has to be served appropriately, served with notice of the lawsuit. And where you run into problems, as has happened in, I'm sure, some cases here, you've got companies who have an interest who've gone out of business, and you've got to find out, or they're out-of-state companies, things like that. They create little problems with service. And from the county councilor's standpoint, if you've got 400 parcels and, you've still got to, so it's a lot of paperwork and things can get overlooked. And so title companies are reluctant, they won't just say, hey, after a year, everything's free and clear. They want to look at each individual parcel and the legal proceedings that related to each individual parcel to decide, hey, is there some glaring lack of service here that 5 years from now, somebody who had an interest in this property could wake up and say, you never served me, the tax sale's invalid, because that's what they're insuring. So that's why it's more than a year. And we didn't know that initially. We didn't know that until we started meeting with the title company. So David asked, we asked them at that meeting to, we'll give you some parcels that people are interested in, and you issue what's called a written commitment to tell us what hoops we might have to jump through in order to get a title commitment. And that's what you may have some of. I've never seen them.
I thought I'd forwarded that to you, but
Well, I don't
I'll get it
recall
to
that you did.
But they indicated they would give us clear title to all the lots that were Shawnee Terrace, which were back in January, we got approached by some builders who identified 6 lots in Shawnee and Sutter Highlands that they were willing to actually make an offer on. And so we turned those in. We turned in all of Olivia Farms, which was a single developer, and the JCAT came back with their underwriter and said, we will give you a title policy, a preliminary title, or a title commitment with no restrictions.
Okay, so
on all these
today,
lots.
and I'd have to, again, look at that written commitment to verify that, but today was the first time I'd ever heard that the title company was asking us to give a general warranty deed versus a special warranty deed. I mean, even my commercial clients, I do not recommend that they give general warranty deeds, private companies. So it's an issue. I mean, you
Absolutely.
could decide to do it, but I would want you to understand what risk you're taking if you do.
Presuming, though, that we can get that resolved to the point we can identify 25, 30, 50, 75 lots, whatever we're going to come up with, that we want to make available for sale. To me, the next question becomes what is identified in policy, or number 2, and that's the marketing, and how do we go about doing that? As outlined in the memo, what staff is recommending, and this is based on earlier comments that we had with the ad hoc committee and other communications and discussions that have been held internally, as well as other folks that have come in. They feel that, one, as lots are identified and made available, they should be put on the open market and anybody have a chance to bid on those. So what we laid out in the memo is basically the idea that as a part of the marketing plan is we identify the lots by lot and block, and we can provide all kinds of information for that. We were able to obtain, I'm going to pass this around, you can look through it, but we've got this level of detail on every lot that the land bank owns, all 940 some of them, and that gives you it blows it up and you can see the size of the lot, it's got the lot dimensions on it, and they're all there. It also shows what the appraiser's office shows as current value listed on those lots, even though they're tax exempt. But the idea would be to identify the lots in a notice that would go out and say, we'll take sealed bids on anyone wishing to acquire or purchase these lots, and give a bid opening date, say for the sake of discussion, July 10th at 5 o'clock, we're going to open the bids. And you reserve the right to reject all bids. Part of the belief is that we need to go through and identify what maybe ought to be a minimum bid. I know there's been a lot of discussion about, well, the city ought to just give them away, the land bank ought to give them away, because you really don't have anything in the lots. And the flip side of that is that, no, the citizens of the community do, because they've covered 4, 5, or 6 years of specials against those lots that have been written off and are gone. Now, whether you want to recoup all that or whether or not you just identify that as what you think would be minimum, and then you kind of make a determination from that point forward, is up to the board. But at least by going through a seal bid process, then anybody that's got an interest has got an open right to make an offer. They can bid on one, they can bid on all of them, whatever they want to do. The big outstanding issue has to do with the future specials. As city manager is fully aware and can bring you up to speed on, and you all know we've got a bill that's stuck in the morass called the legislature right now that still hasn't passed, that would clearly give the ability to re-amortize the outstanding specials. We do have the ability to defer or waive specials under the current statute. So part of the thought process at this point, given the fact we don't know whether the legislature is going to pass the amendment or not, we think eventually they will, but how rapidly that is, we don't know. They may adjourn before it gets done this year. But is to definitely take steps now to essentially not levy the specials against any of the land bank lots for 2015. According to my understanding with Jolene, June 15th is when that needs to be turned into the county treasurer of the big massive laundry list of here's all the lots and the amount of specials that get spread against them for the next tax year. And they have to do that every year. All the land bank lots, we just simply say, no, we're not going to spread the 2015 specials against them. According to what I've had conversations with Katie about before, if we don't spread them, we still can capture them. We still can capture everything that hasn't been wiped out by a tax sale. So the years that have happened since the tax sale, 2013 to 2014 specials, could still be captured and re-spread and dealt with in the future going forward. But we simply include in the announcement, these lots are not going to have these specials spread against them for this coming year. What happens in
And then
2016?
after this year, unless the legislature passes our bill, we'd have to spread them going
the
forward
expectation-
or write some of them off or whatever, but we can't kind of re-amortize unless we get an AG opinion, which that's on deferral because they were waiting for the legislature to.
And given the fact that the previous discussions have been around the idea that the objective is to get these into private hands and get homes built, get construction there, get homes built, it opens up a whole plethora of things that can happen. But how deeply you want to get into that at this point, I don't know. The objective right now would be to simply say, can we move forward with the idea that we can pull 30, 40, 50 lots out right now that we feel we can get clear title to and move forward with the marketing and set a time to when we can actually do something with those. Because construction season's moving away. We're losing. And we've got people that are interested in buying lots right now. I know we've had some interest expressed for more than one person on some lots down in the Deer Creek addition, south of Ash Street. I've had inquiries on property of some of the lots in Sutter Highlands, in Olivia Farms. We've had interest from adjoining landowners on properties in Doc Hargrave's addition in Sutter Woods. We've had, in Deer Creek. We've also had specific interest in buying some of the lots in 14th Street Commons. So we can identify 30, 40, 50 lots right now that we could put out there and say, we'll take and move forward on that. So it's up.
Okay. I understand, because, I mean, we have a advisory board as well.
We have an ad hoc committee that was formed.
Yeah, here's one concern I have. One of the developers, realtors, or builders in town has talked to me about some lots. And for him to buy some, I'm not gonna give you a lot of details here, he would want us to subdivide. Replat, not subdivide, replat, okay? Because of some certain needs with electric extensions and utility extensions. And for us to get rid of those lots, I feel that might be a merited thing to do. Of course, the other thing is when you sell the lots, are you willing to let Katie buy a lot for $6,000? Trustee Ryan buy one for $6,000, but I'll take 10 lots for $55,000. So does my $55,000 trump their $6,000 each? I mean, and not sell 8 lots. And I think those are some real serious discussions we have to get onto, because I see a few of the, people and some locals, not far away people, some locals that may be in that situation where they'll buy 10 lots, get them on the tax rolls, hopefully start developing houses on, or do you let, in this case here, these two trump my 55,000, or, pick any numbers. And those are some serious discussions I think we have to have, because I'm still adamant we gotta get lots sold.
I have a question too. From everything that I read about it, if, let's say that I don't have a house in any of that areas, but if I did, and there's a lot between me and the other house, and I wanted to bid potentially on that lot, everything I read indicated that I would have a year to put another home on it, another dwelling, or could I not buy the lot for,
Space.
for just to extend my property? 'Cause I didn't read
In the
anything
early
about-
discussions was the idea, because the objective was to get homes built on the lots, was that if you buy a lot, the idea was to structure an incentive to say, we'll defer some specials, but we want homes built on these lots. That means take out a permit and get a house built, which kind of negates the idea of somebody that's already in one of those subdivisions buying the adjoining lot, because they're not interested in building another house, they just want a bigger yard. So that's an issue that needs to be worked
Or a
through.
pool, or whatever. I mean,
Yeah.
I get what Trustee, she's saying, Fitzgerald's saying, because, it's about, in my opinion, it has, first of all, we gotta get out of the land business, in my mind. And then secondly, is how do we increase the value of property moving forward? And, if you have a 75-foot lot now, and you're pretty well tied in there, and you want to do anything, or could, if there was a lot between Katie and myself, could we buy it together and split it, and we each have now a 100-foot lot, or whatever the case may be?
Yeah.
And I see some merit in that, and I know some of the lots, and again, I'm not as familiar with as some of you all are with the size of the lots. Some of the lots are minimal size for a certain type of housing. If I want a, triple car garage and things like that, there's some down there, and maybe I wanted to, and I'm willing to take 2 lots and build a house that's maybe worth almost as much as 2 single houses. I mean, and those are real serious questions. And again, how do we get us out of the property business and get it in the hands of people that pay taxes?
And part of the discussion in the beginning was simply sell the lot. We don't care what happens. Because one, it goes onto the tax rolls, and whoever buys it then is responsible for the specials against that lot, irrespective of what
But if I
happens.
bought the lot and
So-
didn't do anything, what's the land bank gonna do, sue me?
Yeah, oh, I know.
I mean, the practical side
It's
is.
hard to enforce that.
It's a hard to
It's
enforce
hard to
because what are you gonna
enforce.
do, sue me?
Yeah,
You know?
it'd be very difficult to enforce.
But these questions aren't anything new that we haven't been discussing for over an entire year. It's reached a point we simply need to make some decisions.
Right.
We need the 5 of you to tell us what you want. What you want to
And
do.
part of the belief that I've got right coming into this is me thinking out loud for a little bit, which is probably not a good thing to do, but is we're still dealing with a great unknown. Let's pull 20, 30 lots out right now and walk through the first sale process to see what we even can get. We're going to learn lessons out of that process that we may say, we don't want to repeat that thing. We want to go a different path. But right now, everybody's just speculating.
Well, why don't we just walk down? Which ones do you recommend putting up now? Second question would be, do you want a minimum price? Third question is, what are you willing to do with the specials? Waive, do nothing?
And if we look at the price, at what's been lost per lot, here on this first page, it's $11,400 a lot.
And you're not
Hey,
going
can
to
you
get
say,
that for me.
you're not going to sell a lot at that price.
No,
No, the
And
committee
this-
recommended a minimum of 5,000, Pat?
that was the number that
They
was thrown
wanted
out
a minimum
originally.
price. The committee's recommendation to us was 5,000 minimum.
5,000 minimum and then amortize the specials that we've lost?
No, their recommendation was 5,000 minimum per lot with a two-year deferral only. And then after that would give a builder 2 years to build, someone to build a house.
Deferral on payment of
Deferral.
specials.
And then the
They kick
specials
in
start in the
after
third
that.
year.
And go on for the remainder of
And
the
go on for the
period.
remainder of whatever balance was left.
Okay.
That's what the committee recommended. This,
That's what we were talking about. We never really
Nothing's been
recommended anything. And that's, Mr. You're out, I'm sorry, I'm very upset with you tonight. I've been calling you and texting you for several months now to get together.
Yes, I know.
You haven't returned one of my messages. I am furious. We're in the same boat we were in 6 months ago. Nothing's happened. Nothing's happened. We go, oh, these builders want to build and these go, it's the same stuff from you. You know, God dang it, I'm just sick of this. We're in the same spot. All you have to do is just give me the lots we already can get clear title on, and let's get them going. But we need to have a meeting of the ad hoc committee first. That's the first thing that's going to happen. We're going to get the rest of these procedural things taken care of there, make a recommendation to this board, and move on. But your failure to respond to me is really upsetting me.
I apologize.
There's no excuse for it. I know you're busy. I'm a busy guy too. But I make time for this because I think it's important. I'm just disgusted at this point.
I'll make a recommendation.
No.
No.
So the next meeting, we're going to have, prior to the next commission meeting, we will have a recommendation from the advisory on those 3 questions, correct?
Let's get an ad hoc committee meeting that Monday night before the next commission meeting.
Don't we have budget?
you have budget meetings that night.
That'd be the week
What's more
before.
important?
You can still have an advisory committee maybe right after, 4 o'clock.
Right before, probably, if you're.
We can get, I'll have to side with trustee Landis here. We're decent in the budget process. I'm like trustee Landis. We gotta rock this puppy.
This is important. Budget, yeah, we'll get it. We'll get it. We got some time on that, but this is
Not a
important.
lot, but we got, and has
Gone
Asher
next
here.
week, so that's gone.
Oh, okay.
So that's my rub.
I would suggest, I would concur with, my recommendation would be to concur with trustee Landis to, let's get us going as quick as we can, because I think it's ultimate importance.
And that would be the ad
15th.
hoc, the Monday prior to?
15th.
And so push that date off, we'd move things around and try to catch another budget time, or just we get more efficient in what we're doing on the budget side.
I believe there's already a date on the end that's open that was going to be reserved for what if something happens?
We
So I
got
think
the-
there's already a
Well,
date
that's-
setting.
that's-
15, 17, 18.
I'm like.
I think last
Let's see.
last year, we didn't even use that last date.
Exactly.
Right, so
And so you just move it into
Let's just
that date
push.
or something.
Well-
if we could,
And we can push the department heads to that they have a half hour, that's it. No more,
that's plenty for most of them,
no debate, we're just have,
Thank you.
get your presentation done.
as soon as
we're fine.
possible.
It's the 15th.
15th is the Monday.
Okay.
So I will suggest during the commission meeting that we take, by motion, take that date off since was put in my motion,
Okay.
if the commission so agrees.
No. I'd actually like to go earlier if we could, but we'll give everyone time to get that together, and then Commissioner Landis will be back for the,
Well, he needs to be, you know, he's been a part of the ad hoc committee from the get-go, and
did you,
I have seen it more than once.
Mr. Mayor, that's yours.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
We can do that.
But we definitely need to have a direction. What do we do with, and then the options are, if our build is at state,
about that at the
I want to look at,
first.
it doesn't happen at all.
That was a board.
If it doesn't happen, we're ready to go with our suggestions. Nothing will stop us from
Well,
going forward with the,
I'm not ready to make a lot of recommendations here because some of these were just talking out loud this morning.
That's all it is.
So that's where I'm at right now. But if you want to make those lots, put an incentive to get them on the market, we do have other ways to skin the cat.
okay.
We can, and again, I'm not advocating these yet because I want to run through all the ramifications of it, is if you buy a land bank lot, can we defer part of the inspection costs or the building permits? Or, I mean, can you run that trap if you want to? I'm not saying it's a good idea, but, you know, is that an incentive that's worth going after? Or will the lots just take care of themselves? I mean, I don't know, you know,
Well,
just
the
saying.
price of the lot should take care of themselves, and the deferment, and maybe
Yeah,
looking at, and I don't know if the ad hoc committees looked at the specials past 2 years. Is it in totality, or are they talking about,
No, you're not gonna, it's only a deferment of the payment. You're not having to pay 2 years of specials. You're just pushing it 2 years.
You're just
right,
pushing it 2
and
years
then
out.
after that, are we talking about the
Zoom back
full
normal-
specials?
Normal schedule.
Okay,
so
But-
take year 7.
but
But
we have
just
the
so you know,
opportunity
you have the option of
lower those.
lowering
We
them.
can, correct.
Okay.
And actually, in making that determination, you're actually
Defer or
wearing,
abate is what we can
Yes.
do. But
In
not,
whole or in
not change
part.
the
Or
amortization.
yeah,
forgive.
in whole or in part. So you could say, I'm going to reduce it by 50%, for example, or even increasing.
Correct.
But you can do all those things, but you're wearing your city commission hats when you make that determination, because you're doing that as,
Well, to date, the committee was not in favor of abating because
We don't want to lose any
they
money.
didn't want to lose any more money than we've already lost. And so and when we did a survey of surrounding communities, of what specials were in surrounding communities, they determined it was not out of line.
Good.
Our specials aren't high.
So what you're telling me, let me get this right, okay? Let's assume that we're in year 6 now of a 20-year special, just, okay? We had a tax sale in 13. So all the taxes from 10, 11, 12, gone.
and specials.
And specials, yeah, all taxes are gone because they were waived by the court, I understand that. So what you're telling me tonight is can we add the specials for 13 and 14 into it now?
I don't have the answer for that.
Okay, that, I
I mean,
mean,
if-
you know, could we do, I'm not gonna say we want to, but can we? And,
Well,
or let's assume that they're gone and now we're in year 6 and we sell the lots now and we don't 7 and 8, can we add those to?
I believe that you take the specials that would have accrued after the tax sale, okay? The specials that would have accrued after, starting with the year in which the tax sale occurs.
Okay,
Those specials continue to accrue, except that we can defer them and move them out. We can also forgive them.
but if we defer them, when do I pay them if I'm a buyer?
They just they're in suspense for, say, 2 or 3 years.
So in other words,
The
in
buyer
year,
buys them and say there are 10 years left, just
Okay.
using that as an example, they start then, or whenever you say they
so I
start.
add that 4 on top of my 10?
Yes.
No,
not the old
No,
ones, not the
old.
ones that were
You
wiped
only need
out.
just the 10.
The ones that accrue.
What's remaining?
Ones
From the date of the
remaining
sale.
after
Correct.
the date of the
Yes.
sale.
But if we defer for 2 years, do they go away too?
No.
No.
When do I
Only
get
pushing
that
them.
money?
We're only
When
pushing.
you, when you,
No. we're
when
just
you
pushing it out.
decide, you're just pushing it out.
In
So
other
would I
words,
get them all in?
You're delaying when they initiate.
Yeah. You're
That's all you're
delaying
doing.
when
The
they
specials-
start.
And that's only one idea. I had another idea thrown at me by a realtor in town, which I thought was really terrific, was that, because I'm still concerned about speculators buying land. And what if, for example, you buy a lot, but you don't get that deferment until you have a roof on a structure? Because that shows that you're committed. And if you're not going to put a house on there, you don't get any defer at all. Period end.
Well, so that means they're immediately due, and
You
the
have to commit.
deferral
You're gonna
happens at
commit.
the back end instead of the front end.
You're going to pay them until you get something on there. That's just an idea. So anyway, there's a lot to talk about. We need to meet as a committee and get a lot of these things hashed out.
6 o'clock on the 16th
That's fine.
or 15th, whatever it is.
15.
Oh, 15th?
15th, Monday the 15th.
15th.
Still the issue that we've got on, which is listed as number 4, which is the 2015 specials that are due to be certified to the county by June 15th. And that's, do we do them for the land bank lots this year? Our recommendation is no, that you need to take action to basically say, no, we're not going to spread the specials. Because to me, it gets fuzzy once you spread them, of whether you then, okay, are they delinquent? Because effectively,
I thought the clock stops though, once they're in the land bank.
they do on ad
If
valorem
you-
taxes.
If they do automatically on ad valorem taxes, but for special assessments, they only do if you as a city commission agreed that they do.
and on your agenda tonight is the listing of the specials that does not include the land bank
Properties.
parcels. So if you approve it on tonight's commission meeting, then you have in effect deferred the land bank
Okay.
specials. We did
Well,
not
for,
list.
for the year 2016.
For this
15.
this year's,
I mean,
Year
the
2015.
taxes that would come out in November of this year.
I'm sorry, I
This
meant
year,
2015.
2015 assessments.
So if you vote yes on the list that Jolene's presenting to you, then you in effect are deferring the land bank land, because we did
Okay.
not put them on the list.
Nothing
Because we
more.
assumed that's what you wanted. I mean, we could always add them.
We have-
The way I directed her was, I can always add them to the list if you tell me something different. I could come back to the next meeting and put them on there. But the direction I felt we were headed was that we were deferring them and not adding them to the list. I didn't think you wanted the city to pay for them.
No.
I think that's a correct assumption.
So that's the way we did it for tonight's
Okay.
meeting. So they'll get
Okay.
that action
Okay.
at your
And nothing
next
more needs
At
to
the
be.
meeting.
governing body meeting.
You've got that on your regular commission agenda.
Yes.
Oh,
See, with the taxes, it's automatic, but with the special assessments, it's not. That's
Okay.
the way the statute reads.
Because we direct the county how to put the specials on. Well, the list that you were presented in your packet tonight did not have land bank land lots on.
Right.
Chairman, item A on the agenda was to approve the minutes. Could we go back and,
Okay.
from the January meeting?
Okay, item A, land bank minutes for January 6, 2015.
I make a motion to approve the land bank minutes for January 6, 2015.
I'll second it.
Have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion?
None here.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. And we're currently in the update on properties.
nothing more new to really, and it's really an issue that probably best work through the ad hoc committee. To me, the key thing at this point is to go back to what we talked in the bidding. We'll identify the lots that we know we can title to, that we can move forward where we've had an interest expressed, get that in front of the ad hoc committee with some discussion with respect to how we want to go about trying to market them and address some of the other questions that have been talked about before. The early draft talked about a performance requirement, that if you bought it, you had to get a building permit within 6 months and complete it within 18 months and those kinds of things. And that goes back to the issues that Mr. Dinkle raised of, do we use that as rather than monkeying with all the specials? Because the more we do that, the harder it's going to be to administer all this stuff.
Okay, item B and C are tabled until the next land bank trustee meeting.
I would presume that part of the recommendation would come out of the ad hoc committee will also be a direction on the marketing plan of how we go about doing that.
Okay?
Do we have any minutes or notes from those ad hoc committees?
No.
No.
I'm just trying to bring my so to speak to that meeting, so
Yeah, Cheryl and I have been kind of running those
He
with
took some-
David.
Some very sketchy
I'll
notes.
call you.
Just not, it's not formal.
no problem. I just, yeah. Okay.
Entertain a motion to adjourn.
I so move.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion?
None here.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries.